this video, we're going to take a look at the integration between Cloud Access Manager and SonicWALL. And really, that integration is going to happen inside the risk engine, right? Inside the security analytics engine that's built into Cloud Access Manager. So before we jump into exactly how we connect SonicWALL to Cloud Access Manager, we're going to do a quick refresher again on the technology behind the security analytics engine. Now, this particular presentation doesn't actually show a live demo, but I think you're still going to understand exactly how that integration happens, what it looks like, and some of the capabilities that we're going to see when we do it. So let's get started. Really, what we're talking about, again, anytime we're talking about the security analytics engine, the risk engine, we're essentially talking about multi-factor authentication. And we know that there's two ways that we can leverage multi-factor authentication in Cloud Access Manager. And one of them is what I like to call the hard-coded way, or the traditional way. And this slide really speaks to that, right? So how do folks typically handle multi-factor authentication? Well, let's take a simple scenario. A user opens their browser and they connect to a secured application. What do they get? They get a two-factor authentication prompt. They generate a key, they enter that key, they use the app, and probably close their browser. Next time they go to that application, they connect, they get another two-factor prompt. They generate their key, they enter their key, they use their app, and they close their browser. And essentially this just happens over and over and over again because, again, the policy has been hard-coded. Anytime users access this application, I'm going to show them a multi-factor authentication, right? And so we don't believe that this is the best way to do things anymore. And that's one of the reasons why the risk engine was introduced into Cloud Access Manager. So why can we be more flexible with the risk engine than we are traditionally with a hard-coded multi-factor policy? Really, let's just take a look at what we know about a user when they connect. So here's James Tiberius Kirk. He connects and we see his IP address. We see maybe the time of day he's connecting from, maybe where on the globe he's connecting from. We see the browser he's using, and we see the application he's trying to get access to. What about the next time he connects? Well, we're going to see the same IP address. We're going to see the same behavioral patterns like time of day. We're going to see the same browser, and we're going to see him connecting to exactly the same application. So the thing to notice here is that nothing's changed. Well, what if we use this information, right? Things like IP, usage patterns, behavioral patterns, the browsers that someone's using, the applications they're connecting to, and we build a profile about that person. If nothing's changed, then what we say is, let's introduce the risk engine. And if the risk engine says, there's a low risk here because I've already authenticated this person, I've already challenged them with multi-factor authentication, and since the last time, nothing's changed, so I don't think I need to do it again, right? I'm going to actually lower the risk, and in turn, I'm going to stop prompting this person for multi-factor authentication. So that's really what the security analytics engine is all about. It was introduced in version 8. It enables risk-based authentication in Cloud Access Manager. It's making real-time, intelligent authentication decisions based upon a number of factors. And again, we're going to cover those here. Really, again, I keep saying this, we end up implementing multi-factor authentication elegantly and not with a hammer, right? It's like not a hard-coded policy where someone's basically being bludgeoned with multi-factor every single time they open up the application. It's actually going to stop. And it's built on a plugin architecture. Malware detection, and now we're actually getting into the point of this presentation. The malware detection plugin provides the integration of SonicWALL firewall malware detection associated with the username and or client IP address. All right, that's basically what the description is. It's actually a little bit more powerful than this, but essentially what that means is that SonicWALL is capable of identifying threats on the network in real time. All right, it can do that through deep packet inspection of secured SSL traffic. It'll still do it. And really what SonicWALL is going to do is it's going to identify that signature on the bit level, right? It's going to see that signature of a virus, malware, some sort of threat on the network, and it's going to basically send up a flare to Cloud Access Manager and say, this person's a threat, or could be considered a threat, right? It's not necessarily a threat, but it could be considered a threat. So let's try to figure out why. Just having adware or maybe some malware on your machine isn't necessarily making your computer a threat to a site that's secured by Cloud Access Manager, but the truth is you may not be the person controlling your computer, right? It could be a bot that's being controlled from overseas somewhere, right? And a nation that's trying to break into your system. Okay, they're actually browsing the network through this malware or through this adware, or who knows what that's on your machine. That's what the threat is. And so what we want to do is we want to have SonicWALL identify what that threat is and tell Cloud Access Manager that, hey, the person that's trying to connect to you right now, this person should be considered a threat. All right, so at least we're going to want to say, let's make sure that multi-factor authentication happens. And I'm almost going to guarantee you that's going to stop a bot from connecting to your network. All right, another quick review, and then we're going to move on to SonicWALL. So again, when someone connects to the security analytics engine, we take this information about their user forensics. We take the information regarding context, and we take the network data. And all that information gets sent to the security analytics engine, where it produces a score, essentially. And an example of this scoring could be 0 to 2 is a low risk, 3 to 5 is a medium risk, and 6 to 7 is a high risk. These numbers, anywhere from 0 to 5, those are actually numbers that you can change. So if you say, no, I really want my low risk threshold to be a little bit bigger, like 0 to 3, and I'll put 4 to 5 as medium, that's something you can do. Okay. Now, what you choose to do with these values is totally up to you. So as an example, you may say 0 to 2, we're going to allow access, and 3 to 5, we're going to step up, right? We're going to require some sort of multi-factor, and 6 to 7, generally speaking, you're always going to block access. If you've got a 6 to 7 threat, there shouldn't really be any reason why you're letting that person in. Although, if there's an emergency, we're going to show you how you can let that person in. That's actually in this presentation. All right, so moving on to SonicWALL. We did our review of the security analytics engine, and now we're going to focus really on this last plugin here, the malware detection plugin. So again, I've already kind of described it. Imagine the traffic on your network just kind of doing its thing through SonicWALL, and then suddenly one of these machines start generating a signature of a threat, right? That's going to get picked up by SonicWALL and sent to the security analytics engine. Now, do I do anything about that? No. Basically, I just sit on that information until that person tries to connect. And then I say, okay, whoa, wait a second. I've recognized that you're a threat, and here's how I'm going to deal with that. Okay. So, how do we configure it? It's pretty simple. Just follow these steps. Basically, the first thing you want to do is install the Security Analytics Engine SonicWALL Processor Service. Okay, this is a Windows service. It can be installed anywhere on your network. It doesn't have to be installed on the Cloud Access Manager server. Again, it runs as a Windows service and basically is the process that receives the information from SonicWALL and stores it for when the Security Analytics Engine needs it. After you install that, you're going to open it up and you're going to tell it where the Security Analytics Engine is. So again, you've installed the Windows service and you're going to configure it saying, hey, when you're ready to talk to the Security Analytics Engine, here it is, right? So an example would be my server/security analytics engine. And again, that's where Cloud Access Manager typically is installed, right? Because the Security Analytics Engine is running as a parallel service right next to Cloud Access Manager. Then you go over to SonicWALL, you open up AppFlow Reporting, and set up an external collector. It's actually really super simple to do, right? And the directions we have, the guide that we have is step by step and basically breaks it down into really clear steps. So what does it look like when you've got all the pieces put together? Here's a simple Windows service. You can see it right there highlighted, and here's the properties window. All right, basically it's set in my environment to manual. You probably want to do it automatic in your environment. But it's just, again, a simple Windows service that's running. Now, if we go over and look at my SonicWALL device, right here I'm just showing my real-time monitor. Okay, here you can see from the dashboard view that my SonicWALL is actually working and it's picking up information in my environment. Okay, if we go to the next page, AppFlow Monitor, you can actually see some of the software that I've kicked off in my environment just to kind of test out my service and make sure that it's working, right? So I see Skype is being used, there's a BitTorrent, and Netflix is being used, right? Now, that's your SonicWALL. It's set up, it's running. You can see that it's capturing information about the software that's running in the environment. But what we want to do is we want to hook it up to Cloud Access Manager Security Analytics Engine. So to do that, go over to Flow Reporting, and there's a little checkbox right here at the top, send flows and real-time data to external collector. All right, that external collector is the Windows service. Just simply turn on that box and then tell it what the IP address is for the external collector. So in this case, it's 192.168.168.65. That's where the service is running. and then the port is a 2055. You can see that too. So that's flow reporting. We're next going to go over and set some more options for what we want to report. All right, so we're going to say I want to report anti-spyware. So if I see spyware on a machine, I want to enable that little filter. Okay, so right there you can see the little checkbox, enable anti-spyware. I've got that checked, and I go to the next thing that I want to report, intrusion preventions, right? So it's more than just malware. So intrusion prevention, or IPS, I'm going to check that box. There goes your IPS. Finally, I'm going to go turn on gateway antivirus, right? And I think that's the last setting I set. So once those are set, SonicWALL is going to be capturing events, and it was actually really kind of a challenge for me to install malware in my lab, but I did it. I got malware installed in my lab, and it's actually being captured by Cloud Access Manager. And this is a view of actually a log file that's sitting where the collector is. So again, that Windows service, when it's receiving information from Cloud Access Manager, it generates these log files, and it uses that log file as basically like a repository or a dictionary of IP addresses and threats associated with those IP addresses. Just double click on one of those files and this window pops up, right? It's automatically associated with that log file. And again, you'll see all the stuff that's being reported from SonicWALL, right? It's a useful tool to kind of know, is my service actually communicating or not? Next, we're going to take a look at what happens in Cloud Access Manager. Now, this is what a user might normally see. Okay, right here, someone's tried to connect. Rather than just getting to the application, they're being presented with a multi-factor prompt. All right, put in your one-time password here. Now, this is because that information about that malware has been consumed by the security analytics engine, but the security analytics engine has basically just said, okay, I see that you're a threat. I'm going to go ahead and make you a multi-factor challenge. Now, what if you don't want to do this? What if you want to block that person completely? Well, really, we're going to go back into the policy inside the security analytics engine. And if you look, I'll see if I can get my cursor out here. This last plugin right here associated with malware, this is the slider that's basically pointing at SonicWALL. And you can see it's only a threat of 5. And in my environment, that wasn't enough for me to give you a multi-factor prompt. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that threat, and you can actually watch. I'm going to slide it from 5 over to the right, where it's basically the highest threat you can get. And I'm going to save that. Now, that same user that was connecting before, that was giving me a risk score of 5 because they were identified as being a malware threat, they're going to see this. It's just flat out going to tell you not authorized. This happens in real time. You don't have to restart anything. You don't have to do anything. Just simply go over there, adjust that slider, and say, hey, malware is now a maximum threat to me, and it used to be just a 5. Now it's a maximum threat, and we're going to block that person completely. Clearly, you can do whatever you want. You can do nothing with it. You can leave it a low threat, but if it's combined with any other low threat, maybe you'll get up to a 4 or a 5, right? Or you can make it a medium threat and just say, hey, you've been identified as a threat, and I'm going to ask you for your multi-factor token. At some point, though, the user may call, especially in this point, right? If this is the situation and the person says, wait, I got to get in. I'm on my machine. It's at work. I got to get in. They're going to call the help desk, and that's really what we're going to do next. We're going to take a look at what can the help desk do. Well, the help desk is going to go to the audit log for Security Analytics Engine. And on this screen, we've highlighted the first record. You can see that right here. We've highlighted the first record. We see that the reason why this person has got a score of 5 is because they've been associated with malware, right? You can see that right here. And in this screen, unfortunately, there's a screenshot. I can't scroll down on it. But if you scroll down, it would actually show you what malware signature was associated with this. So that's really kind of cool. Our help desk people can actually basically discover through this output, hey, Bob, you've got the such and such virus or the such and such malware. Right now we can kick off remediation of that problem. But if nothing else is required at the moment and we just need to get this person through, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the bottom right hand side and click this override button. That brings up a simple dialog where we can set like an expiration date. Is there a specific browser we want to override? I'm just saying any browser for this user, go ahead and allow them through, and that's going to allow the person through. So click save, boom, they're into the system. They're not going to see any more prompts. So that's really it. That's the quick review of the integration between SonicWALL and the Security Analytics Engine. It's really not terribly more complicated than what I just saw. Turn on your flow reporting. Tell me what you want to report. set up your collector, tell the collector where Cloud Access Manager is, and you're done. Click Save, click Save, click Save. You're good to go. And now we can see where we can get that power of our SonicWALL deep packet inspection combined with the elegance of the security analytics engine and hopefully make our users' lives a little bit better.